The massive alien ship looked like a crystal mountain floating in space. Ambassador Tejo watched it through the big window of Luna Gateway Station. His hands were a little shaky. This was the first time aliens had come to talk with humans. "They're beautiful," said Dr. Hyjin, standing next to him. She was the station's expert on alien life. "Look at how their ship shines." "Beautiful but scary," Tejo said. "We have no idea what they want from us." Commander Jiwoo walked up to them. She was in charge of keeping the station safe. "The Velkari ship is asking permission to dock." They sent the message in perfect English. "How did they learn our language so fast?" Tejo straightened his tie. "Let them dock. We're ready for this." The Velkari delegation came through the airlock an hour later. There were 5 of them, each one 8 feet tall. Their skin was silver and smooth like metal. They had 4 arms and wore long robes that seemed to be made of light itself. The leader had golden markings on his forehead. "I am High Consul Morthak of the Velkari Empire," the leader said. His voice sounded like music played through a computer. "We come seeking diplomatic relations with the human species." Tejo bowed slightly. "Welcome to Luna Gateway. I am Ambassador Tejo. We are honored by your visit." The aliens stood perfectly still. They didn't bow back or make any gesture. Morthak's large eyes studied Tejo carefully. "We have prepared a formal meeting room," Tejo continued. "But first, would you like some coffee? It's a human drink. Very popular here." The 5 Velkari turned to look at each other. They made soft buzzing sounds that might have been their way of talking privately. "Coffee?" Morthak asked.
"This is a substance you consume?"
"Yes, it helps us stay awake and think clearly," Dr. Hyjin said with a smile. "It's part of our hospitality. We offer drinks to guests." More buzzing sounds from the aliens. Morthak's forearms moved in strange patterns. "We do not require substances to maintain alertness," he said, "but we will observe this ritual." Tejo felt confused but nodded. "Great. Let's go to the meeting room then." They walked through the station corridors. The Velkari moved in perfect formation, their steps making no sound. Tejo noticed they kept looking around at everything with their big eyes. In the meeting room, Engineer Wu Jin had set up a coffee machine. The smell filled the air. Tejo poured coffee into cups and offered them to the aliens. "It's hot, so be careful," he warned. The Velkari held the cups but didn't drink. They seemed to be studying the dark liquid. "So," Dr. Hyjin said, sitting down at the table, "how was your journey here? Did you travel far?" The aliens looked at each other again. More buzzing. "Our journey details are not relevant to diplomatic negotiations," Morthak said. "Why do you inquire about travel specifics?" Hyjin laughed a little. "Oh, I'm just making conversation. Being friendly. How are you feeling? Are you tired? Excited to be here?" The buzzing got louder. One of the other aliens stepped forward. "Are you attempting to gather intelligence about our physical and emotional states?" This alien asked. "Is this part of human negotiation strategy?" No, Tejo said quickly. "She's just being nice. We call it small talk. It's how humans show we care about others." "You care about beings you have never met before this moment?" Morthak asked. "Well, yes," Hyjin said. "I mean, we're meeting you for the first time, but that doesn't mean we can't be interested in you as people. Do you have families back home?" The alien stepped backward. Their robes began to glow brighter. "You seek information about our offspring and mating partners?" Another alien demanded. "This is clearly an intelligence operation." Commander Jiwoo moved closer to the table. "There's been a misunderstanding. Dr. Hyjin is just trying to be friendly. When humans meet new people, we ask about their lives to show interest and respect." "Respect?" Morthak's voice got higher. "By probing personal information that has no connection to diplomatic matters?" Tejo realized they had a big problem. "Please, let me explain. In human culture, we build trust by sharing small details about ourselves. It helps us feel connected. Connected." Morthak repeated the word slowly. "You seek to form emotional bonds before conducting business?" "Yes, exactly," Hyjin said, looking happy. "It makes everything easier when people like each other." The aliens buzzed for a long time. Finally, Morthak spoke again. "This is highly unusual. In all our diplomatic encounters across the galaxy, formal negotiations begin immediately. Personal information sharing occurs only after agreements are reached, if at all. Different species, different ways," Tejo said. "Would you be willing to try our way? Just for a few minutes?" The aliens looked at each other. Their robes dimmed slightly. "Very well," Morthak said. "We will participate in this. Small talk, as an experiment in human diplomatic methods." Jin smiled broadly. Wonderful. So what's your home planet like? Is it warm, cold? Do you have oceans? Morthak's forearms moved nervously. Our world is... It has crystalline formations and 3 suns. The temperature varies by region. That sounds amazing, Jin said. I love studying different worlds. Do you have animals there, plants? We have life forms, yes, another alien said. He sounded less suspicious now. Creatures that float through the crystal forests. They sing in harmony. Oh, like a choir. Hyojin clapped her hands. That must be beautiful to hear. The alien's posture changed slightly. It is pleasant. We find their songs calming. Taeho watched the aliens begin to relax a little. Their robes stopped glowing so brightly. Maybe this would work after all. Do you have hobbies? Wu Jin asked from where he stood by the coffee machine. Things you do for fun? The aliens buzzed again, but softer this time. Fun, Morthak asked. Activities with no productive purpose? Sure, Wu Jin said. I like to build model spaceships in my free time. It doesn't help my job, but it makes me happy. The aliens turned to stare at Wu Jin. Their big eyes seemed even bigger. You engage in purposeless construction activities for emotional satisfaction? One asked. Yeah, it's relaxing, Wu Jin said with a shrug. More buzzing. Longer this time. Finally, Morthak spoke. This concept of fun requires further study. Your species appears to have social behaviors we do not understand. Taeho felt a mix of hope and worry. The aliens weren't running away, but they clearly thought humans were very strange. This was going to be more complicated than anyone had expected. Well, he said, why don't we start with the formal negotiations now? We can learn more about each other as we work together. Agreed, Morthak said, though we must note that this small talk experience was unexpected. As they began to discuss trade agreements and peace treaties, Taeho noticed the aliens kept glancing at their coffee cups and whispering to each other. He had a feeling this was just the beginning of a very unusual diplomatic relationship. Captain Minho stood in the station's dining hall, watching Chef Daun arrange plates on the long table. The smell of roasted meat and vegetables filled the air. He wanted everything to be perfect for the Velkari guests. Are you sure about this? Commander Jiwoo asked, checking her watch. The alien seemed pretty confused by our coffee yesterday. It's just dinner, Minho said. Every species needs to eat, right? This is basic hospitality. Dr. Hyojin walked in carrying a basket of bread. I think it's a great idea. Food brings people together. Maybe sharing a meal will help them understand us better. The dining hall had large windows showing Earth below. The table was set with the station's best plates and glasses. Taeyoon had spent all day cooking traditional Korean dishes mixed with some international foods. They're coming, Engineer Wu Jin announced from the doorway. I saw them in the corridor with Ambassador Taeho. The 5 Velkari entered the dining hall in their usual perfect formation. Their silver skin reflected the warm lights and their forearms moved in careful patterns. High Consul Morthak looked around the room with his large eyes. Welcome to our dining hall, Minho said with a bow. We've prepared a meal to share with you. The aliens stopped walking. They stood perfectly still, staring at the table covered with food. This is a consumption ceremony? Morthak asked. It's dinner, Taeho said. We eat together to show friendship and share our culture. You consume organic matter in groups? Another Velkari asked. For social purposes. Chef Daun stepped forward, smiling. I made some of our favorite foods. Please sit down and try everything. The aliens looked at the chairs around the table. They didn't move. In our species, Morthak said slowly, feeding is a private activity. We absorb nutrients through our skin in isolation. Oh, Hyojin said. That's interesting. But you don't have to eat if you don't want to. You can just sit with us while we eat. The Velkari buzzed to each other in their musical language. Finally, they approached the table but remained standing behind the chairs. We will observe this ritual, Morthak announced. The humans sat down around the table. Daeyoon began passing dishes around. Steam rose from bowls of soup and the smell of garlic and spices made everyone hungry. This looks amazing, said Lieutenant So-young, filling her plate. Daeun, you outdid yourself. Thanks, Daeun said, blushing a little. I tried to make things that would represent human culture well. The Velkari watched as the humans began eating. Their big eyes followed every movement. When Wu Jin picked up his chopsticks, all 5 aliens leaned forward to get a better look. These are tools for eating, Taeho explained, holding up his fork. Different cultures use different tools. Why do you not consume food directly with your mouth? One alien asked. Well, it's cleaner this way, Minho said. And some foods are too hot to touch. The aliens buzzed among themselves again. So Da-un, So Young said between bites. Remember when you first started cooking on the station? You burned everything for the first week. Da-un laughed loudly. Oh no, don't remind me. I set off the fire alarms 3 times in one day. And Minho came running to the kitchen thinking we were under attack, Wu Jin added, grinning. I was so embarrassed, Da-un said, covering her face with her hands. I thought they would send me back to Earth. The humans around the table laughed together. The sound echoed in the dining hall. The Velkari stepped backward, their robes beginning to glow brighter. Are you experiencing distress? Morthak asked Da-un urgently. Do you require assistance? Distress? Da-un looked confused. No, I'm fine. We're just laughing about old memories. You make sounds of distress when recalling failure events? Another alien asked. It's not distress, Hyujin explained. It's laughter. We laugh when things are funny or when we remember silly mistakes. You find failure amusing? Morthak's voice rose higher. Sometimes, Minho said, when the failure doesn't hurt anyone and teaches us something. Da-un's cooking is excellent now because she learned from those mistakes. The aliens buzzed loudly among themselves. So Young said, taking another bite. Who has the most embarrassing story from this week? Oh, I do. Wu Jin raised his hand. Yesterday I was trying to impress the new technician, right? So I volunteered to fix the gravity generator in Section 7. This can't be good, Da-un said, smiling. I'm working on the generator, feeling very confident. I tell her to watch how an expert does it. Then I accidentally reverse the gravity flow. No way, Minho said, laughing already. The whole section goes upside down for 10 minutes. I'm stuck on the ceiling with my tools floating around me. The technician has to call Commander Jiwoo to rescue me. The table erupted in laughter. Wu Jin was laughing the hardest of all, even though it was his embarrassing story. The Velkari moved even further back from the table. Their robes were now glowing so bright it was hard to look at them. Why do you voluntarily share information about your incompetence? Morthak demanded. This weakens your position in social hierarchy. Does it? Taeho asked, wiping tears from his eyes. I think it makes Wu Jin more likable. We all make mistakes. Sharing them shows we're human. It shows we trust each other, Ye Jin added. If I tell you about my mistakes, I'm showing that I believe you won't use that information to hurt me. And it's funny. So Young said. Life is serious enough. We need to laugh sometimes. The aliens were buzzing so much it sounded like a small engine running. In our society, one alien said carefully, revealing weakness leads to loss of status and potential exile. That sounds lonely, Da-un said softly. Don't you ever want to share your troubles with friends? Friends? Morthak asked. People you care about who care about you back, Minho explained. People you can trust with your problems and your silly stories. The aliens were quiet for a long moment. Their robes dimmed slightly. We have work associates and genetic relations, another alien said. But this concept of friends is not familiar. Well, we could be friends, So Young offered. If you want. Friends share meals and stories. Even embarrassing stories? Morthak asked. Especially embarrassing stories, Wu Jin said with a grin. The aliens looked at each other, then at the humans still sitting around the table with their plates of food. This consumption ceremony, Morthak said slowly, serves multiple social functions beyond nutrition intake. Exactly, Hyojin said. We eat together to bond, to share culture, to build trust. It's not just about the food. Though the food is really good, Minho said, taking another bite. Da-un beamed with pride. Thank you. Cooking for others makes me happy. You experience positive emotions from providing sustenance to others? One alien asked. Yes. Taking care of people I care about feels good, Da-un said. The aliens buzzed softly to each other. We begin to understand, Morthak said. This ritual strengthens social bonds through shared vulnerability and mutual care provision. That's a fancy way to put it, So Young said. But yeah, that's about right. One of the younger aliens stepped closer to the table. The sounds you make, laughter. It indicates pleasure rather than distress. Right, Wu Jin said. Want to try it? Think of something silly that happened to you. The alien's forearms moved nervously. I once accidentally absorbed nutrients from a decorative crystal instead of a nutrition crystal. I glowed purple for 3 days. The humans looked at each other, then burst into gentle laughter. "That's funny," Daeyeon said. "Did anyone notice?" "My entire work unit noticed. I was very conspicuous. I bet you were beautiful, though," Heejin said kindly. The alien's posture changed slightly. It was not entirely unpleasant. The other units found it interesting. For the first time, the aliens moved closer to the table instead of away from it. "This sharing of failure stories," Morthak said thoughtfully, "creates bonding rather than hierarchy disruption." "It creates connection," Taeho said. "We're all imperfect. Sharing that makes us closer." The Valkyrie stood in silence for a moment, watching the humans finish their meal and continue talking and laughing together. "This dinner ritual," Morthak announced, "is more complex than we initially assessed. We require additional observation to understand its full social significance. You're welcome to join us for meals anytime," Minho said. "Even if you don't eat, you can sit with us." The aliens buzzed to each other one more time. "We would find that acceptable," Morthak said. As the humans began clearing the table together, the Valkyrie watched every interaction with intense curiosity. None of them noticed how their robes had stopped glowing and returned to their normal soft light. Lieutenant So-Young walked through the quiet corridors of Luna Gateway, with the 5 Valkyrie delegates following behind her. The station's lights had dimmed for the night cycle, creating long shadows on the walls. "These will be your quarters," she said, stopping at a row of doors. "Each room has a bed, desk, and private bathroom. The environmental controls are here on the wall." High Consul Morthak looked at the door she was pointing to. "Quarters for what purpose?" "For sleeping," So-Young said. "You know, to rest during the night cycle." The aliens buzzed to each other in their musical language. Their big eyes seemed to glow in the dim hallway light. "Sleeping?" another Valkyrie asked. "What is this activity?" So-Young stopped walking and turned to face them. "You don't sleep ever?" "We do not understand this term," Morthak said. "Please explain sleeping." "Well," So-Young said, thinking carefully, "humans need to rest for about 8 hours every day. We lie down, close our eyes, and our consciousness shuts down temporarily. Our bodies repair themselves while we're unconscious." The aliens stepped backward, their robes beginning to glow. "Your consciousness shuts down?" one alien said, his voice higher than usual. "You become unconscious voluntarily?" "Yes, every day," So-Young said. "It's completely normal. We dream while we sleep too." Dreams, mental experiences while unconscious. Sometimes they're like stories. Sometimes they're just random images and feelings. The Valkyrie buzzed loudly among themselves. "This cannot be accurate," Morthak declared. "No intelligent species would voluntarily render themselves unconscious and vulnerable for extended periods." "I assure you we do," So-Young said with a small laugh. "In fact, we can't survive without sleep. If humans don't sleep, we get sick and eventually die." The aliens moved even further back. "You are telling us that humans must regularly become helpless or they will die?" another Valkyrie asked. "I wouldn't say helpless," So-Young said. "We just rest. And we're not completely helpless. Loud noises or danger can wake us up quickly." Medical Officer Junki appeared from around the corner looking tired. He was carrying a coffee cup and had messy hair. "Oh, hey, So-Young," he said with a yawn. "Sorry, just finished a late shift. Need to get some sleep before the morning rounds." The Valkyrie stared at Junki like he was a dangerous animal. "Dr. Junki," So-Young said, "could you explain sleep to our guests? They don't have this biological need." Junki blinked sleepily. "Really, that's fascinating. How do your bodies repair cellular damage? When do your brains process and store memories?" "Our bodies maintain themselves continuously," Morthak said. "Memory processing occurs in real time." "Wow," Junki said. "That must be exhausting." "Sleep is amazing. It's like a reset button for our minds and bodies." "You enjoy becoming unconscious?" one alien asked. "I love it," Junki said with another yawn. "Especially after a long day. Sleep is one of life's great pleasures." The aliens buzzed frantically. "We must observe this sleep process," Morthak announced. "For diplomatic understanding." "Sure," So-Young said. "But you might find it boring. We just lie still for 8 hours." An hour later, the Valkyrie had positioned themselves in the corridor outside the crew quarters. They stood motionless, watching and listening. So-Young had given them permission to observe, thinking it would help them understand human biology. Dr. Yunji was the first human to fall asleep. The aliens pressed their faces to her door's window, watching her lie motionless on her bed. She appears to be in a coma, one alien whispered to the others. But her vital signs are normal, another said, checking a handheld scanner. They watched for 2 hours. Yunji didn't move except for slow, steady breathing. Then something strange happened. The weather is so nice today, Yunji said clearly, her eyes still closed. The aliens jumped backward. She's communicating, Morthak said urgently. But with whom? Maybe she's receiving telepathic messages, another alien suggested. They listened carefully. Yunji continued talking in her sleep. No, I don't want to go to the meeting with the purple elephants, she said. They're too loud and they smell like flowers. The Velkari looked at each other with wide eyes. Purple elephants? One whispered. What kind of beings are these? She mentioned flowers, another said. Are they conducting biological warfare discussions? Morthak pulled out a recording device. We must document this intelligence-gathering method. Meanwhile, down the hall, pilot Dongsu was having his own sleep experience. He had been dreaming about flying through space when suddenly he got up from his bed, eyes still closed, and walked out of his room. The aliens watched in amazement as Dongsu walked down the corridor like a ghost, moving slowly but with purpose. He's mobile while unconscious, an alien said in wonder. This must be an advanced form of surveillance. They followed Dongsu at a safe distance as he made his way to the station's kitchen. He opened the refrigerator, took out some leftover pizza and began eating it, all while still asleep. He's consuming nutrients during the unconscious state, Morthak observed. Their bodies continue essential functions without conscious control. Dongsu finished the pizza, put the plate in the sink and walked back to his room. He got into bed and continued sleeping as if nothing had happened. The aliens were buzzing with excitement. This species has developed unconscious operational capability, one said. They can perform complex tasks while their consciousness is offline. It's clearly a hive mind behavior, another added. The sleeping individuals are being controlled by a central intelligence. They spent the rest of the night documenting every sound and movement from the sleeping humans. Engineer Wu Jin snored loudly, which convinced the aliens he was sending coded messages. Navigator Ye Jin rolled over several times, which they interpreted as defensive positioning. Morning came and the humans began waking up naturally. So Young was the first to emerge from her room, stretching and yawning. Good morning, she said to the Velkari, who were still standing in the hallway. Did you learn anything interesting about sleep? We have made remarkable discoveries, Morthak said seriously. Your species has evolved the ability to operate unconsciously, communicate with unknown entities, and receive instructions through dreams. So Young stared at him. What? We observed Dr. Yunji receiving communications about purple elephants and flower-based warfare, one alien explained. And pilot Dongsu performed a complex nutrition acquisition mission while unconscious. So Young started laughing. Oh no, you don't understand. Yunji was talking in her sleep. That's just random dream content. And Dongsu was sleepwalking. Sometimes humans move around while sleeping, but we're not really awake. Random content? Morthak asked. Dreams aren't real, So Young explained. They're just our brains processing information and memories in strange ways. Purple elephants don't exist. It was just a weird dream. And the sleepwalking? Dongsu probably just got hungry in his sleep. His body remembered where the kitchen was, but he wasn't really awake. He won't even remember doing it. Dr. Yunji came out of her room, looking refreshed. Good morning, everyone, she said cheerfully. Did everyone sleep well? Dr. Yunji, Morthak said formally, what can you tell us about purple elephants? Yunji looked confused. Purple elephants? I have no idea what you're talking about. You discussed them extensively during your unconscious period, the alien insisted. Oh, that must have been a dream, Yunji said with a laugh. I don't remember it at all. Dreams are usually pretty weird and random. Dongsu appeared next, yawning and rubbing his eyes. Someone ate my leftover pizza, he said, looking disappointed. I was saving that for breakfast. So Young and the aliens all looked at him. You ate it, So Young said. Last night, while you were sleepwalking. Dongsu's eyes widened. Really? I don't remember that at all. Was I awake? No, you were completely asleep, So Young said. You walked to the kitchen, ate the pizza, and went back to bed. That's so weird, Dongsu said, scratching his head. I don't remember any of it. The Velkari looked at each other in amazement. The unconscious activities leave no conscious memory, one alien said quietly. This sleep process, Morthak said slowly, is far more complex than we initially understood. Your species enters a state that combines vulnerability with mysterious unconscious capabilities. It's really not that mysterious, So Young said. It's just biology. Our brains need downtime to function properly. But the dreams, the movement, the talking, another alien insisted, these behaviors serve no apparent purpose. Not everything we do has a purpose, Yunji said. Sometimes biology is just weird. Junki appeared looking much more awake than the night before. How did the sleep observation go? He asked the aliens. Your species is more complex than we anticipated, Morthak replied. This sleep behavior raises many questions about human consciousness and biological processes. Happy to answer any questions, Junki said. Sleep is actually one of my favorite research topics. We may have many questions, the alien said. As the humans went about their morning routines, the Velkari stood in the hallway still processing what they had witnessed. The idea that an intelligent species would voluntarily become unconscious every day was challenging enough. But the fact that humans could move, talk, and even eat while unconscious suggested abilities they didn't understand. We need to study this phenomenon further, Morthak announced to his team. None of them noticed that they had been standing motionless in the same spot for 8 hours straight, which was exact. Science Officer Boram opened the door to the station's recreation deck with a big smile. Welcome to our fun zone, she said to the 5 Velkari delegates. This is where we relax and play games during our free time. The large room had several different areas. There were tables with board games, a corner with video game consoles, exercise equipment, and comfortable chairs for reading. The walls were decorated with colorful posters and achievement certificates. High Consul Morthak and his team looked around with their large eyes, taking in every detail. This space serves what function? Morthak asked. Entertainment, Boram said. Recreation. We come here to have fun when we're not working. Fun, another Velkari repeated slowly. The purposeless activity you mentioned before. It's not really purposeless, Boram said. Games help us relax, learn new skills, and spend time with friends. Technician Kyung-ho was sitting at a round table with 3 other crew members. They had cards in their hands and small piles of colorful chips in front of them. Hey, Boram, Kyung-ho called out. Want to join our poker game? We're just starting a new hand. Maybe in a bit, Boram said. I'm showing our guests around first. She turned to the aliens. That's poker. It's a card game where players try to make the best combination of cards. They compete against each other? One Velkari asked. Yes, but it's friendly competition. The winner gets the chips, but we're just playing for fun, not real money. The aliens moved closer to watch the poker game. The humans were laughing and talking as they looked at their cards. I'm going to fold, said Communications Officer Hae-won, putting her cards down. My hand is terrible. Good choice, Kyung-ho said. I think I have a pretty strong hand this time. You always think you have a strong hand, another player said with a grin. That's why you lose so much. Everyone at the table laughed, including Kyung-ho. The Velkari watched this interaction with confusion. She announced her failure voluntarily. One alien whispered to the others, and the others found her failure amusing. Another added, I don't understand, Morthak said to Boram. Why do they laugh when someone loses? It's not mean laughter, Boram explained. We're all friends here. Losing at games isn't really important, so we can joke about it. But if losing isn't important, why compete at all? Boram thought for a moment. It's hard to explain. The competition makes the game exciting, but the real fun comes from spending time together and testing our skills. Across the room, Lieutenant So Young was playing a video game on one of the large screens. Bright colors flashed as she controlled a character jumping through a fantasy world. Oh no, So Young said loudly as her character fell into a pit. I almost had it that time. Engineer Wu Jin was watching over her shoulder. You're getting better. That level is really hard. Want to try? So Young asked, offering him the controller. Sure, but I'll probably do worse than you, Wu Jin said. The aliens followed Boram over to watch the video game. This is a simulation, Morthak observed. But what is its training purpose? It's just for fun, So Young said, not taking her eyes off the screen. It helps with hand-eye coordination, I guess, but mostly it's entertaining. You create artificial challenges with no real-world benefit? Another Velkari asked. That's right, Wujin said, taking the controller. Sometimes the best challenges are the ones that don't matter. He started playing, but his character immediately walked off a cliff. Oops, he said, laughing. I told you I'd be worse. No, try again, So Young encouraged him. You just need to get used to the controls. The aliens watched as Wujin failed repeatedly, dying in various creative ways. Each time So Young offered advice and encouragement. When he finally completed a small section of the level, both humans celebrated like he had achieved something important. Excellent work, So Young said, clapping. I can't believe I finally got past that part, Wujin said, looking pleased. They celebrate minor achievements in artificial challenges, one Velkari noted quietly. In another corner of the room, a group was playing a board game called chess. Dr. Haijin was playing against Navigator Ye-jin while several others watched. Checkmate, Haijin announced, moving her queen. Aw, you got me again, Ye-jin said, but she was smiling. Good game. The two women shook hands across the board. Want to play again? Ye-jin asked. Definitely, Ye-jin said. I think I see where I went wrong. This is even more confusing, Morthak said to Boram. The loser immediately requests to compete again, knowing she will likely lose again. Ye-jin enjoys the challenge, Boram said. She's trying to improve her skills. Even losing teaches her something. You find value in repeated failure? We find value in trying, Ye-jin said, having overheard the question. Every game teaches me something new, whether I win or lose. And playing against Ye-jin makes me better, Ye-jin added. She's a stronger player, so I have to work harder. The aliens buzzed to each other for several minutes. In our society, one Velkari said carefully, engaging in activities where failure is likely is considered inefficient and potentially harmful to one's status. But how do you get better at things if you don't practice? So Young asked. And how do you practice without sometimes failing? We study theoretical knowledge until competency is achieved before attempting practical application, Morthak replied. That sounds boring, Kyung-ho said from the poker table. Half the fun is not knowing if you'll succeed. Fun from uncertainty? Another alien asked. Sure, Kyung-ho said. If I knew I was going to win every poker hand, the game would be pointless. The risk of losing makes winning feel good. The Velkari spent the next hour observing different games around the recreation deck. They watched humans play ping pong, where both players seemed equally happy whether they won or lost points. They observed a group playing a trivia game, where people laughed loudest, when they gave completely wrong answers, most confusing. Of all was when they saw pilot Dong-soo challenge Captain Min-ho to an arm wrestling contest. I bet I can beat you this time, Dong-soo said confidently. You always say that, Min-ho replied with a grin. And I always win. They gripped hands and began the contest. Dong-soo strained with effort, his face turning red, but Min-ho's arm slowly pushed his down to the table. Victory to Min-ho again, someone announced. Instead of looking upset, Dong-soo laughed and rubbed his arm. One of these days I'll get you, he said. Keep trying, Min-ho said, patting Dong-soo on the shoulder. You're getting stronger. The aliens looked completely bewildered. The weaker individual initiates competition with the stronger individual. Knowing he will lose, one Velkari said, and the stronger individual encourages the weaker one to continue challenging him. Another added, and both individuals seemed to enjoy this repeated demonstration of inequality. Morthak concluded. That's not how we see it, Boram said. Dong-soo enjoys the challenge, and Min-ho enjoys helping a friend test his strength. It's not really about winning or losing. Then what is it about? Boram thought carefully. It's about pushing ourselves, having fun together, and supporting each other. The competition is just a way to do that. Communications Officer Hai-wan had finished her poker game and was walking over to them. How was your game? Boram asked. I lost everything, Hai-wan said cheerfully, but I had a great time. Kyung-ho played really well tonight. She turned to the aliens. Are you interested in trying any games? We could teach you. The Velkari stepped backward slightly. We do not engage in activities designed for failure, Morthak said. But they're not designed for failure, Hai-wan said. They're designed for everyone to have a good experience regardless of who wins. How can both competitors have a good experience when only one can achieve victory? Because the experience is more important than the result, Heywan said. I had fun playing poker even though I lost. I enjoyed talking with my friends, testing my skills, and learning from my mistakes. You enjoyed your mistakes? Some of them, yes. The funny ones especially. Dr. Jun-Ki had been listening to the conversation while exercising on a treadmill nearby. In medical school, he said, we had a saying, the person who made the most mistakes learned the most. As long as the mistakes don't hurt anyone, they're valuable learning experiences. And in a game, added Yejin, mistakes are safe. I can take risks and fail without any real consequences. The aliens buzzed among themselves for a long time. This recreational competition serves as a training environment for risk-taking and failure recovery, Morthak said slowly. Sort of, Boram said. But honestly, most of the time we just do it because it's fun. There's that word again, one alien said. Fun, the positive emotional response to purposeless activity. Maybe it's not purposeless, Heejin suggested. Maybe the purpose is just to feel good and connect with other people, emotional. Satisfaction and social bonding through artificial challenges, another Velkari mused. Exactly, said several humans at once. As the evening went on, the aliens continued to observe. They watched humans teach each other new games, celebrate each other's successes, and comfort each other after failures. They saw people switch partners and teams frequently, so that everyone got to play with everyone else. Most remarkably, they noticed that the humans who lost most often seemed to be having the most fun of all. Counselor Young-sik sat in the station's observation lounge with the 5 Velkari delegates. The large windows showed Earth rotating slowly below them, blue and white and beautiful. He had offered to help the aliens understand the human behaviors they had been observing. I know our customs seem strange to you, Young-sik said gently, but I think if we talk about them, things might make more sense. High Consul Morthak and his team had been on the station for a week now. They looked tired, though Young-sik wasn't sure if aliens could actually get tired. We have observed many confusing behaviors, Morthak said. Humans appear to have emotional responses that serve no logical purpose. Can you give me an example? Young-sik asked. Yesterday we witnessed Security Chief Inho producing water from his eyes while staring at a visual display, one Velkari said. The display showed fictional characters in dramatic situations. Why would he have physical reactions to events that are not real? Young-sik smiled. He was watching a movie. The tears mean he was emotionally involved in the story. We call it crying, and it happens when we feel sad or sometimes when we feel very happy. He experienced genuine sadness for non-existent beings, Morthak asked. Yes, that's called empathy. We can feel emotions about things that happen to others even if those others are fictional. The aliens buzzed to each other in their musical language. This seems inefficient, another Velkari said. Emotional energy wasted on imaginary scenarios. Maybe, Young-sik said. But stories help us understand our own emotions and prepare for real situations. They also help us feel connected to other people's experiences. Through the observation deck's secondary screens, they could see different areas of the station. Young-sik had set up the displays so the Velkari could observe daily human activities. On one screen, Navigator Ye-jin was in her quarters looking at something on her personal tablet. She was making high-pitched sounds and had a huge smile on her face. What is causing Navigator Ye-jin's vocal expressions? A Velkari asked. Young-sik looked at the screen and chuckled. She's probably watching videos of animals. Ye-jin loves cute animal videos. Those sounds mean she's happy. Animals serve what purpose in these videos? No purpose, Young-sik said. They're just cute. Baby animals make humans feel good. She gains positive emotions from observing young creatures of other species? Exactly. We find small, helpless things endearing. It makes us want to protect and care for them. On the screen, Ye-jin was now showing her tablet to engineer Wu-jin, who had stopped by her quarters. Look at this baby panda, they could hear her saying through the intercom. It's learning to climb and it keeps falling down. Wu-jin started laughing. That's adorable. Send me that video. The Velkari watched this interaction with intense focus. They are sharing emotional stimulation from observing a juvenile creature's repeated failures, Morthak noted. We think baby animals are cute, Young-sik explained. Their clumsiness makes them even more adorable to us. It triggers our protective instincts. Protective instincts toward creatures that are not your offspring and not your species? Right. Humans have very strong caring responses. Sometimes they extend to anything that seems vulnerable or innocent. Another screen showed maintenance worker Sunho in his workshop. He was holding a small old photograph and his shoulders were shaking slightly. Is Sunho experiencing distress? One alien asked with concern. Young Sik looked more closely at the screen. Oh, that's his family photo. His daughter lives on Earth. He gets emotional sometimes when he looks at pictures of her. She's in danger? No, he just misses her. The photo makes him think about happy memories, but also sad that she's far away. He voluntarily views an image that causes emotional pain. It's complicated, Young Sik said. The photo makes him sad because he misses his daughter, but it also makes him happy because he loves her. Sometimes humans want to feel sad about people we care about. The aliens were buzzing more frantically now. This appears to be self-inflicted emotional harm, Morthak said. Not harm exactly. It's more like keeping our connections to loved ones alive even when they're not with us. On a third screen, they could see the station's small hydroponics bay. Dr. Haya Jin was there with a tiny plant in her hands. She was talking to it softly. Grow strong, little tomato, she was saying. You're doing so well. The plant was clearly dying. Its leaves were brown and wilted. Dr. Haya Jin appears to be communicating with a failing plant organism, a Velkari observed. She's encouraging it, Young Sik said. Some humans talk to plants. We know plants can't understand us, but it makes us feel better to treat them like living friends. She expends emotional energy on a life form that cannot reciprocate? Yes. Hye-jin cares about all living things, even small ones that don't benefit her in any way. They watched as Hye-jin carefully watered the dying plant and adjusted its position to get better light. Her face showed genuine concern and hope. She hopes to preserve an organism that has no significant value? Another alien asked. To her it does have value, Young Sik said. Every living thing has worth in Hye-jin's mind. That little plant matters to her. Even though it will die soon regardless of her efforts? Even though. Sometimes we care about things precisely because they're fragile and temporary. The aliens were quiet for several minutes, processing this information. In our society, Morthak said slowly, emotional investment is allocated based on logical benefit analysis. We care for offspring because they carry our genetic material. We maintain relationships with individuals who provide mutual advantage. That makes sense, Young Sik said. Human emotions aren't always logical, though. We care about things and people because caring feels important to us, not because it's efficient. But this creates vulnerability, another Velkari pointed out. Emotional attachment to weak or temporary things causes suffering when those things are lost. True, Young Sik agreed. But it also creates meaning. The connections we form, even with small things like plants or animals or fictional characters, make our lives richer. On the screens, they continued to watch the daily dramas of human emotional life. Sunho carefully put his family photo back in his desk drawer, touching it gently one more time. Yejin saved 17 more animal videos to show other crew members later. Hyejin moved her dying plant to a spot where it might get better sunlight, still talking to it encouragingly. We have observed another pattern, one Velkari said. Humans frequently display emotions toward objects that have no biological significance. Like what? Young Sik asked. Pilot Dongsu has a small metal toy spacecraft on his control panel. Yesterday we saw him adjust its position very carefully and speak to it before starting his shift. Young Sik smiled. That's probably a good luck charm or a memento from home. Humans often keep objects that remind us of important people or experiences. The object has emotional value despite having no practical function? Right, we call them sentimental objects. They help us remember things and people we care about. So humans form emotional bonds with inanimate objects as well as living beings? Sometimes. If the object represents something meaningful to us. The aliens looked at each other with what might have been confusion or amazement. We are beginning to understand, Morthak said, that human emotional responses are not based on logical cost-benefit analysis. Not usually, Young Sik confirmed. We care about things because we choose to care, not because caring makes practical sense. But why choose to care about things that cause suffering or serve no purpose? Young Sik looked out at Earth through the big window. Because caring connects us to the world around us. It makes us feel alive and part of something bigger than ourselves, even when it hurts sometimes. The pain of caring is acceptable because the connection is valuable. For most humans, yes. We'd rather feel too much than feel nothing at all. A new image appeared on one of the screens. Engineer Mi-kyung was in her quarters holding a small cage. Inside the cage was a tiny hamster that wasn't moving. "Oh no," Young-sik said softly. They watched as Mi-kyung gently picked up the small animal. Her face crumpled and she began to cry. "The small creature appears to be deceased," Velkari observed. "Her pet hamster," Young-sik said sadly. "She's been taking care of it for 2 years. She is experiencing grief for a creature that provided no essential services?" "The hamster was her friend," Young-sik said. "She loved it." They watched as other crew members began gathering in Mi-kyung's quarters. Dr. Jun-ki arrived first, then Ye-jin, then several others. Each person who entered immediately went to comfort Mi-kyung. "This is remarkable," Morthak said. "The entire crew is responding to one individual's emotional distress over a non-essential creature. They're supporting their friend," Young-sik explained. "When someone we care about is hurting, we want to help. Even though the cause of distress is logically insignificant, the cause doesn't matter. Mi-kyung's pain matters because she matters to them." On the screen, they could see the crew members taking turns holding Mi-kyung while she cried. Someone brought tissues. Someone else brought tea. Woo-jin was carefully wrapping the small hamster in a soft cloth. "They are treating the deceased creature with ceremony," Velkari noted. "They'll probably have a small funeral," Young-sik said, "to help Mi-kyung say goodbye and to show respect for something she loved." "A funeral for a hamster?"